And I'm going over the agenda for the December Lubbock Clinical Educators Committee. If there's any old business, please discuss this after this video. The new business really centers around OSCEs. I want to remind you that all OSCEs must be graded by 8 a.m. on Tuesday, December 20th of 2016. This is because it only allows us 3 days to do the grading and get them to the coordinators so that they can get them done before the end of the year, because remember that our holiday starts on the 23rd, and I don't think that anybody's going to be doing very much over the weekend or the following week. If we don't do this, we'll have to do an in-progress grade for the students. We've had to do that before, and it is very, very tedious to do that for 180 students and then to take them back. One of the biggest items that we're going to talk about is the new items that we've added to the standardized patient scoring sheet pertaining to establishing rapport. This is based on evidence that our students are failing CS due to poor communication skills. Here are the items that we've added, which is knocking on the door and waiting for a response, closing the door before you start talking, introducing yourself and your role, verifying the patient is the correct patient, asking about how they prefer to be addressed, shaking hands if appropriate, establishing eye contact, and inquiring about chief complaint as an open-ended question. So when would it not be appropriate to shake hands? If it's a psych case, if the patient is walking around pacing and somewhat psychotic, it may not be appropriate to shake hands. Of note is that the hand washing is done before the physical exam, not upon entering the room. So they don't walk in the room, wash their hands, and then contact the patient. When you watch this on a video, you can see that it really disrupts the establishing of rapport. Right here I have a sample script, and I'll go over this in a little bit more detail later. Here's what a scoring sheet would look like. Basically what we've done is we've taken these components and inserted them into every one of the SP checklists. This is the psych one, which really has very few new items other than the ones above. It really has a student uses speech and language that is understandable and allows them to ask questions. So we've done this for each and every clerkship, and hopefully Krista, if she's not already gotten them to you, will get them to you so that you can see what yours will look like. This is the second part of the psych checklist. Okay. If you want to see a sample video, you can click on this link. I'm not going to do this now, but you guys have the link available and you can watch the videos. So all the clerkship directors have received this information. Daniel and Monty at the Simulation Center here in Lubbock have agreed to contact the Amarillo and Permian Basin Simulation Center directors and all of the SPs. They will incorporate this into the SP training. It is important that the SPs grade this very accurately. This is very high stakes. So I've asked that they grade this after the encounter while watching the video, or that they have another SP watch the encounter and grade it. I don't want them to just grade it by memory until they're really into this. Additionally, all students have received this information, including the video, but I would remind them because I've looked on YouTube and not too many people have actually watched the video. I would really assume that there'd be 180 students watching it, plus the clerkship directors, plus standardized patients and whatnot, and the number is nowhere near that. If you have any questions about that, please email me and I'd be happy to respond to this. I'm sorry that I can't be there today. More information just to keep in the back of your mind, we're planning another Faraz in late January 2017. This is to prepare for the LCME site visit. The date is pending, but we'll try to get it out as soon as possible. This will be mandatory, so we'll arrange with Dean Burke to have your clinics canceled or rescheduled. We would also like to include training on communication skills by the Texas A&M Simulation Director. I met her at the Southern Group of Educational Affairs. They have an incredible program for standardized patient training, and I feel that the clerkship directors, simulation center directors, and all of the SPs that are sort of heading up the training should be present. And then finally, we'd like to include training on My Progress, which is in addition to our assessment forms. What Our Progress does is it allows the student to ask that you assess them right there on the spot, but it only includes whatever you just did. So if you just heard an oral presentation, it's only going to have an oral presentation. You do it on their iPhone, and then you put in your email address, and it sends you a verification email. It's really a very cool program. We've been looking at it for over a year, and I think that it will really make it easier for you because you do these tiny little micro-assessments in real time. We tested it out in Seattle, and it literally takes between 15 and 30 seconds. And that's all I have. You can continue with whatever questions you might have additionally.